The debate about overdose prevention sites is back, a place where people would be allowed to bring their drugs and use them with someone nearby ready to help if they overdose. While the idea is familiar, the strategy is different this time around. Anusha Roy joins us, and Anusha, you covered this in 2018, and here it is again, you're covering it.
Yeah, and that's really when we started to realize we need to take a very intense look at the opioid crisis, and honestly, in hindsight, we realized we were too late to the game on this. And in these last 5 years, we've unfortunately seen a record number of people die from overdoses. There have been so many conversations focused on naloxone to reverse an overdose, expanding treatment and the surge of fentanyl and that controversial fentanyl law that passed all in that 5 years. But we always knew that safe use sites, which are now being called overdose prevention sites, would be coming back into the conversation. Some argue it never went away. Here's one of the bill sponsors.
It's taken time to embrace the public health approach that data shows us works. And I'm confident that as we continue in this direction, more and more states and local governments will consider overdose prevention centers.
So essentially, this would be a place where people can come with their drugs and then use them with a trained professional nearby to step in if they overdose. People could also be testing for fentanyl, and then when they are ready, they would be connected to treatment as well.
Okay, 5 years ago versus now, I know there are more Democrats in the state legislature. Right. Is that the only difference, that they now have the bodies that'll get the same thing passed?
No. So what they were trying to do in 2018 was they were trying to authorize one supervised site in Denver. Denver City Council actually gave the okay for that, but then the bill failed, so it never actually went anywhere. That's why we don't see it in the city of Denver. Now what they're trying to do is give the green light to all local municipalities, city councils, saying, hey, you have the green light. If you want to move ahead with this, you're not going to get in trouble with the state, but it's up to you to decide what are the rules, what are the regulations, where does it go? That's right. The big question. The other big thing that we noticed is that there are 36 sponsors this time around versus in 2018 we saw 9.
I mean, that's almost evidence that it's going to pass when you have that many people.
Very different support.
We've seen this before with gun control. The state passed a law that allowed cities to have stricter gun laws if they want, and now we have seen some cities, primarily in Boulder County, utilize that and then get sued. Right. So is this just setting up cities to then do something and get sued?
I think there's one thing that everybody is watching out for, and it's going to be the legal battle with this. I was talking to a legal expert about this, and he said, you know, where this is going to get really interesting is if a city actually moves forward with it, does it conflict with federal laws? And the big question then is going to be, will the feds really come into Colorado and shut it down?
Well, we know there are going to be people with open wallets that will try and go through the courts because they can.
Yeah, and you know, we're hearing a lot of the same arguments against it, the same arguments for it. And what I think is interesting is this time around, we are seeing it in the U.S. already, in New York City. We're going to be revisiting with the folks in Vancouver. They've had a program like this since 2003, and it's a really interesting look at not only how the program works, but also kind of a future glimpse for us at what those legal battles will look like.
And we'll hear about that next week. Thanks, Anusha.